Ladies and gentlemen, live on Spreaker.com, we're presenting...
Hollywood Hotel.
No, you stupid bitch! It's Radio Land! And now, here is your host, the one and only, the Prince of Spreaker, a man among boys. It's Apocalypse!
Dun 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 dun. Hey guys, what's up out there? This is the Prince of Spreaker. That is my official title. And the reason why I call myself the Prince of Spreaker is because I'm not an authority like a king, but I am respected and I do wild things as a prince. Anyways, I kind of wanted to touch on a topic that, I just noticed that we haven't really talked about this because there are so many married people on this network, or people probably that don't have this problem, but I'm mostly going to go with people who are mostly married on here, except for maybe, to be honest, now that I think about it, like, everyone I know is pretty much married. Maybe Barco isn't. Stabby, but it seems like so many other people are, the main people I talk to. There's very few singles on here, but so yeah, this probably doesn't concern them, but they might want to listen. I don't know. If you want to listen. I mean, you're here for a reason, right? Anyways, I want to talk about something called the friend zone. This is a very dreaded place to be, no matter who you are. And basically, if you're probably wondering, what the hell is a friend zone? Basically, in popular culture, this friend zone refers to a platonic relationship. If you don't know what platonic means, it just means friend, non-sexual. Wherein one person, most commonly a man, wishes to enter into a romantic or sexual relationship, while the other does not. It is generally considered to be an undesired or dreaded situation by the forlorn person. If a desired party does not return or respond affirmatively to the advances or affection of the desiring party, but it just continues to participate in the friendship in a platonic way, so they just keep doing it, even though they basically know that they're probably not going to get anything. It's considered a friend zoning. In a related sense of the term, friend zone can describe a committed mismatch, such as when two people are sexually involved, but in which one person wants a committed relationship, such as being a boyfriend or girlfriend, while the other person does not. And according to psychologists, the man in a cross-gender friendship is much more likely to be attracted to his woman friend than she is to him, and he is more likely to overestimate her interest in a romantic or sexual relationship. This concept has been criticized by feminists as being unfair and misogynistic and imposing an obligation on a woman to offer sex in return for any kinds of action by men. And there are different explanations about what causes a person to be placed in the friend zone by another. It might be a result from a misinterpreted signals, or from a fear that a deeper relationship might jeopardize the friendship. A Chicago Tribune writer suggested there were several cases in which someone might be relegated to the friend zone because a person is not sufficiently attracted to the other person, and that's a serious thing. If one person is not sufficiently attracted to someone, they might just kindly just stay the friend thing and not let it advance further, and that's always there. And that other person might be too afraid to tell the other person, hey, I'm not attracted to you, but I do like this friendship. Second thing, person A misinterprets nonverbal cues from person B, signaling their interest in deepening the relationship. So if you misinterpret these cues, well, then that's a communication error, and that's something that maybe after a few months, if you're still having these communication errors, then there's probably something wrong and that needed to be worked on. 3, there is sexual repulsion, but it's just not enough to block a friendship. If there's a sexual repulsion, or if there's no attraction, then obviously there cannot be a relationship. Well, there can be a relationship, but it can't move past the relationship. In a friendship between the two people, being relegated to the friend zone can happen to either person. But let's be honest, most of the time it's the dude. In another instance, a woman described her male friend someone was comfortable with it'd be one of the girlfriends. But the relationship became problematic when he wanted their relationship to develop romantically, but she did not. Also a communication error. One man compared the friend zone to being a third wheel and having only a platonic relationship with a woman. Writer Jeremy Nicholson in Psychology Today suggested another problem with the friend zone, specifically that a romantic pursuer, instead of being rejected up front, uses the ploy of being friendly to use as a backdoor approach in order to enter, maybe in the future, a romantic relationship. I could see that. I could see how certain men would pretend to like somebody in order to get into someone's pants. But that's at the bar too. You see guys who, they say whatever a woman wants to hear, as is the case in all flattery, to get into their pants that night. But this seems like a more long-term rejection, or slow, soft rejection, and so it hurts more than getting just rejected at the bar, because hey, very little time spent and very little emotional effort lost, and there's plenty of other women at the bar. Well, it depends where you go. If you go to those dive bars, yeah, they say the pickings are quite limited at the dive bars. But those are the types of bars I prefer. Because when it comes to the dive bars, you get more people down to earth, more blue collar types that down on their luck usually have more interesting stories. So if you're looking for girls, I guess the place would be clubs or basically anywhere but a dive bar. Because some of the women, they're pretty rough, into the drugs and just pretty harsh on themselves. And usually if you're pretty harsh on yourself, your face will age pretty well. And that's just not something many guys like to see. But if you drink up enough, any girl can become real pretty real soon, if you know what I mean. So, about all this. And another thing is that Marshall Fine of the Huffington Post suggested that the friend zone is like the penalty box of dating, when your only crime is not being buff and unobtainable. Dating advisor Ali Binazar described the friend zone as just friendistan, and wrote that it's a territory only to be rivaled in inhospitality by Western Sahara and Atacama and Dante's Ninth Circle of Hell. So it's not someplace anyone wants to be, and it's frustrating. And to me, if you're in it, your goal is not to be in it. And the problem with that is that it usually requires, hey, I'd like to move forward, or it requires you to get out. So sometimes it seems like there's an ultimatum usually to get out of it, and it's for the better. Either you move forward with the person that, and you hope that you really like the person, because I don't know if some of you have been in it, and this just friend zone sort of thing, but it's one of those things that happens, and it happens usually because you're putting all your eggs into that person. You're focusing only on them. You're putting all your efforts. You're dedicating yourself to them. And another thing I probably would notice in something like this, as this has happened to me, I have to admit this. So it just seems like you don't feel the appreciation. And the friend zone is such a terrible place to be, because you don't have to be there, and it seems like it's a communication error, and it's sort of a slap in the face to the person who's in there. But ultimately, the other person, you can't force them to be in a relationship. That's one thing that we all have to admit, and you don't want to be at the point where you're forcing them into a relationship either. But at the same time, the person that's in the friendship zone, they notice they don't have to be there. And I think what's frustrating to a lot of people in there is, like, in some cases, maybe they've turned away a lot of people in hopes of getting out of this friend zone. And it's and it just sucks, And so, I'm sure you guys all listen to goofybone, and I know some of you guys might think his personality's fake, but when it comes to Goofy, he doesn't seem like the guy that would be trapped in the friend zone, because if his personality that he portrays on here is him in real life, this will appease everybody. He just seems like he'd go from one woman to another, and that would be that. And that's just the way it goes. So, the proper way to never happen to get stuck in the friend zone is to spread your egg basket far and wide, and then just go from the flow there. That way, if an egg breaks, well, you got a few other eggs elsewhere, and you can create a new egg and put it somewhere else. So spread the spinning quarters, and if one stops spinning, if a few get closer to stop spinning, focus on them. But another thing is, only go forward with something like that. Only pour so much emotional stuff into someone that is pouring it back. That's a good indicator. Like, if someone really likes you, they do have some duty to show it to you, and you have a duty to show it to them. So everything's truthfully up front. So don't go forward with someone if you're in that friend zone. Don't, because you can't really expect something out of someone. But it is your right to not go forward with them, and it is your right to tell them how you feel, and you can work with them. But after a certain period, let's be honest, after a certain period, a few months, if you're kind of stuck in the friend zone and you don't like being in the friend zone, then move on, because time is the most precious resource, and don't waste it on someone if you're just getting maybes or meh. If it's a struggle for attention, then just go apply it elsewhere. Go apply it to someone that wants it. This might sound bad, but maybe the person was just a bad match for you. Maybe they just didn't appreciate you. Maybe for whatever reason it just didn't work. So don't feel obligated to one person. You're not. As far as I'm concerned, when you're in a serious relationship, it is really the only person you're seriously obligated to. So I think a lot of friends